Oh, hello, folks. It's Ken David Stewart on a Thursday morning. And today I'm going to continue with my Roswell 1947 play. And, so get ready. There's a lot of action in this part of the play. Okay, so here it comes. Totally uncut, non rehearsed in live. Act 2, Scene 2. Narrator. After Mick Russell leaves the sheriff's office, he is feeling a little thirsty. He decides to stop in at Dusty's Tavern. He carries his bag in with him. Dusty the bartender says, "Howdy, Mick. What you got in the bag there?" Narrator. As Mick is about to open his bag and spill the contents on the barroom counter, he turns to see Lloyd the barber sitting beside him. "Mick, hey, aren't you Lloyd the barber from the Andy Griffin Show?" Lloyd, "The one and only. Let's see what you got in that bag there, buddy." Narrator. Mick holds the bag up and is ready to dump its contents on the counter on the floor. Mick, "Hey, Lloyd, how are Aunt B and Obie doing?" Lloyd, "Look, man, this is the way it is. There's no Obie and there's no Aunt B. It's just a TV show. It's not real, man." Mick, "I know that. You think I'm stupid or something?" Lloyd, "I'm just messing with you. Why don't you show us what's in your bag and I'll buy you a beer?" Mick, "Well, for free beer, I guess I can empty my bag and tell you where I found this stuff." Narrator. Mick empties the bag of metallic material on the barroom table. Lloyd, "Wow, look at this stuff. Is this stuff weird or what?" Mick says, "Just watch this." Narrator. Mick rolls a piece of the metal up into a ball. It rolls out perfectly straight. Dusty. "Wow, I've never seen metal do that before." Mick, "That's nothing. Watch this, Dusty. Lend me the hammer in your drawer." Narrator. Mick hits the metal with the hammer as hard as he can. There isn't a mark left on the metal. Dusty says, "Where'd you get this metal, Mick?" Mick, "I found this stuff scattered all over my ranch this morning." Lloyd, "Buddy, you really got yourself something there. For all we know, it could be pieces of a crashed flying saucer we've all been hearing about. My advice to you is to take your bag of weird metal right down to the radio station and tell them your story right now." Mick, "You think that's a good idea, Lloyd?" Lloyd says, "You bet it's a good idea. From what I hear, there's a big reward for anyone who has evidence of a real flying saucer." Mick, "Then I'm off to the radio station. Thanks for the tip, Lloyd. Say hi to Obie and Aunt B for me." Narrator. Mick quickly puts the metal pieces back in the bag and runs to the Roswell radio station. Act 2, Scene 3. Narrator. Mick rushes right into the control room at the radio station. The two DJs, Rick and Dwight, are still on the air. Mick says, "You guys want to see what those old guys at the general store were all talking about?" Rick, "Listeners will be right back after an important message from our sponsors." Narrator. As Rick and Dwight take off their headphones, Mick lays his bag of strange metal on the announcer's desk. Rick, "What's in the bag, Mick?" Mick, "Maybe from a flying saucer that crashed on my ranch last night." Dwight, "Rick, this is the scoop of the century." Rick, "I know, and we'll be the broadcasters who first broke the story." Dwight, "Rick, we'll be invited on the Larry King Show." Rick, "Easy, Dwight, calm down." Rick, "Welcome back, loyal listeners. We've got a very special guest on today's show, rancher Mick Russell." Dwight, "That's right, listeners. Mick has an amazing story to tell us. Mick, tell us what you found on your ranch last night." Mick, Well, I think one of them flying saucers they've been talking about in the news crashed on my ranch last night. Narrator. Vic dumps the bag with the metal pieces on Rick and Dwight's desk. Narrator. Just as Mick starts telling his story, General Kane turns up the radio in his army jeep. General Kane. What's that rancher talking about? Private. Get this vehicle to the radio station, on the double. We gotta shut this cowboy up before he starts a national panic. Private ends. Don't worry, sir, I'll have us there in a flash. Act 2, Scene 4. Narrator. While Rick and Dwight are doing their interview with Mick Russell, General Kane smashes a glass window in the control room. Private Ends kicks in the door. Rick, what's the meaning of this? We're on the air. Narrator. Ignoring the two radio broadcasters, General Kane and Private Ends grab Mick by the arms and hustle him out of the radio station. They throw Mick in the back of the army jeep. Rick. I would just like to let the people of Roswell, New Mexico know that Mick Russell has just been hauled out of the control room by two military officers. I thought we had freedom of speech in this country. Dwight, yes, loyal listeners, this is indeed a sad day for the American people. Narrator, Private Ends locked the door of his army jeep. Mick is sitting in the pitch black dark near the back of the jeep. Mick can't see anyone, but he hears labored breathing and the moaning as if someone is in terrible pain. Mick is trembling and is drenched in sweat. Mick, who's in here? Man, it smells awful in here. I feel like I'm going to puke. Act 2, Scene 5. Narrator. After a long, bumpy ride, the army truck stops in front of the Roswell Hospital. Private Ends unlocks the door of the truck and helps Mick out of the back. Mick, what are you guys doing to me? General Kane, shut up, Russell. Private Ends, I'll take the surviving alien into the hospital. You bring Russell in. We'll get some of the orderlies to carry in the bodies of the dead aliens. Narrator. Mick turns around and sees the living alien hooked up to an oxygen tank. Mick, what the heck is that? Am I in some kind of Stephen King novel? Narrator. General King pushes through the hospital doors. Will bring the surviving alien inside. Private Ends is right behind him with Mick in handcuffs. General Kane, nurse, give Mr. Russell here a shot of grade A horse tranquilizer. He's having a real bad day and I want him to take a nap. And call some orderlies for me. I need them to unload some bodies from our army truck. Nurse Carey, right away, General. Narrator. Nurse Carey calls for some orderlies over the intercom. As the orderlies arrive, Nurse Carey gives them their instructions. She tells Mick to lower his trousers and gives him a shot in the backside. In a few seconds, Mick slumps to the floor. Two orderlies lift Mick onto a stretcher. General King, orderlies, stick this man in a storage room. After I take care of business here, I'm taking him back to the Air Force Base for an interrogation. Narrator. While all the commotion is going on in the reception room, Dr. Zorba passes by and sees the injured alien, slumped in a chair, taking deep breaths from his oxygen mask. Dr. Zorba, nurse, bring this man into the operating room immediately. I'll have to work fast to save his life. Narrator. Nurse Carey and an orderly help put the alien on a table in the operating room. Dr. Zorba, this is bizarre. I can hear this creature's voice in my head, but he's not speaking out loud. Nurse Carey, what's he telling you, Doctor? Dr. Zorba, the creature says that he is very frightened. He doesn't want to die. He's telling me the exact treatment and medication that he needs to restore him to health. He said that his name is Commander Zig, that he comes from a planet millions of light years from our solar system. Nurse Carey, he's trying to communicate with me too. He says that the last thing he remembers is colliding with another spacecraft. He said that he means us no harm. Narrator, General Kane, rushes into the operating room. Commander Zig, communicating telepathically. Doctor, this man frightens me. General Kane, well, what's the verdict, Doc? Can you save this thing or not? Dr. Zerba, Well, first of all, General, he's not a thing. He's a highly evolved, intelligent being from another universe. He says he means us no harm. In fact, he's very afraid of you, General Kane. You didn't answer my question. Will he live? Dr. Zorba, it's possible if I treat him right away. He was just explaining to me what treatment he needs when you came barging into the operating room. General Kane, are you telling me that the alien can speak English? Act 3, Scene 1. Narrator. Act 3 takes place at the Roswell funeral home. Dennis, the Newtown mortician, is busy getting a client ready for tomorrow's funeral. He is startled by the ringing of his phone. General Kane. Dennis? This is General Kane from the Air Force Base. Listen, Dennis, I need 4 child-sized funeral caskets as soon as possible. Do you have any in stock? Dennis, I have 2 small caskets, sir. General Kane, I need 4, Dennis. Can you build me 2 more this evening? Dennis, well, this is kind of short notice, sir. I have to run over to the general store before it closes at 6. I'll need to buy lumber, nails, a hammer, saw, tape measure, and some paint. General Kane, good. While you're there, pick me up a few pepperoni sticks and a pack of White Owl cigars. Dennis, I'm a little pressed for time right now, sir. I just started preparing a client for his funeral tomorrow. I reckon it'll take about 6 hours to finish the job. General Kane, Dennis, are you certain this guy's dead? Dennis, well, yeah, as far as I can tell. General Kane, so what does he care if you bury him tomorrow or later in the week? He's probably not in any hurry now, is he? Dennis, well, I suppose not. General Kane, well, I am in a hurry, Dennis. I want those caskets delivered to the hospital by 8 o'clock this evening. Get to the general store on the double, Dennis. Dennis, I'm leaving right now, General. Oh, by the way, sir, what are the small caskets for? Was there an accident involving small children? General Kane, don't ask me any questions, Dennis. You get further orders when you arrive at the hospital. And don't forget to get my pepperoni sticks and cigars. Dennis, to himself, something doesn't make sense here. Usually they ask me to get the bodies prepared before they ask for caskets. And surely someone would have told me about an accident involving small children. Well, I better get to the store first and try to figure this out later. Act 3, Scene 2. After a couple of hours of drugged sleep, Mick wakes up in the storage room at the hospital. He still feels woozy from the effects of the tranquilizer. Mick, where am I? Those fascists must have stuck me in the supply room of some kind. Mick, this must be the janitor's room. There's nothing but brooms, mops, and pails in here. Hold on, I see a window. Narrator. Mick stumbles over to the window. He picks up a stepladder and smashes the glass out of the window. He runs to the back lane about a block from the hospital. As a groggy Mick wobbles down the lane, 2 dog catchers from town are having a smoke break in their truck. They can see Mick stumbling down the lane. Harvey, the dog catcher. Hoss, look at that guy. He's wasted out of his mind. Hoss, the assistant dog catcher. Hey, buddy, come over here. You look like you could use some help. Mick, you're right about that. First, I get kidnapped by 2 Air Force guys who throw me in the back of a truck with aliens. Then they take me to a hospital, where a nurse shoots me up with horse tranquilizer. Then I pass out and I wake up in the janitor's closet in the hospital. I broke the glass in the window in the janitor's room and made a run for it. Harvey says, ha ha ha, that's the goofiest story I ever heard. Hoss, this guy's hallucinating real bad. We need to get him to the hospital right away. Harvey, you're right, Hoss. He's probably been out in the hot summer sun too long. He's probably got the heat stroke. Narrator. When Hoss goes to grab Mick, his keys fall out of his pocket and land on the ground. Mick picks the keys up and opens the back door of the truck. Mick then grabs the leash of an angry Rottweiler, unhooks the collar, and releases the dog. Harvey, Hoss, run for your life. That big mean Roddy's loose. Narrator. The angry Roddy chases Hoss down the lane. The two dog catchers see a big blue dumpster, climb in it, and shut the lid. Harvey. Oh, man, it reeks in here. Hoss. I don't care. I'm staying in here until I'm sure the Roddy's gone. Narrator. Mick starts up the dog catcher's truck and heads for town. Mick says, I've got to get back to the radio station. I've got an even better story to tell them now. Okay, I think I'll hold it right there for now. And thank you very much for listening. And I appreciate your feedback and likes and all that. And have yourselves a great day. And we'll have future upcoming episodes. This is Ken David Stewart signing off.